My son Jackson was 26 when his marriage fell apart. His ex-wife got the apartment, the furniture, most of their savings, everything they'd built together over 4 years. He moved into his car, a 2015 Honda Accord with 140,000 miles on it. He parked it in the gym parking lot where he had a membership, showered there, worked from coffee shops, and slept in the backseat. It was temporary. He had a plan, but my family didn't care about plans. The judgment came fast and cruel. "Look at Jackson living in his car like some bum," my sister Diane announced at Sunday dinner, where Jackson wasn't invited. At 26, what a failure. His father would be so disappointed, my mother added, shaking her head. All that education, all those opportunities, and he's homeless. "He's not homeless," I said firmly. "He's between living situations after a difficult divorce. He's working full-time and has a plan. He's sleeping in a parking lot," Margaret, my brother Paul, interrupted. "That's homeless. That's what happens when you marry the wrong person and make bad choices. He's rebuilding his life." "He's an embarrassment," Diane said. "Thank God Dad's not alive to see this. His only grandson, living like a vagrant." I wanted to scream at them, to tell them the truth about what Jackson was really doing, about what he was waiting for, about what they didn't know. But Jackson had asked me to keep quiet. "Just a few more months, Mom, then everything changes. But I need people to see me like this first. I need to know who really cares." So I kept his secret and endured their judgment. My late husband, Richard, had been CEO of Morrison Industrial Supply, a company his grandfather founded. When Richard died 3 years ago from a sudden heart attack at 54, the company went into a trust. The terms were specific and strange. Jackson would inherit controlling interests and the CEO position, but only when he turned 27. Until then, the company would be run by a board of trustees with my brother Paul as interim CEO. Jackson knew this. He'd known since he was 18. The trust was ironclad. His grandfather had designed it to ensure Jackson had time to mature, gain experience, and be ready. Jackson had spent his 20s preparing. A business degree from Northwestern, an MBA from Wharton, 5 years working his way up at a competing firm, learning the industry from the ground up. Then his marriage imploded. His wife filed for divorce 2 months before his 27th birthday. The timing was suspicious. She wanted half of his assets, but the trust wasn't accessible yet. She got angry when she realized she'd miscalculated, and the divorce got ugly. Jackson lost almost everything in the settlement, everything except what mattered: the trust that would activate on his 27th birthday. That birthday was in 6 weeks. My family didn't know this. Paul thought he was the permanent CEO. He'd made himself very comfortable, raised his own salary, hired Diane's husband as CFO, and given my nephew a do-nothing VP position. He treated Morrison Industrial like his personal kingdom. Jackson watched it all from his Honda Accord, working his final weeks at his current job, planning and waiting. 6 more weeks, Mom, he'd tell me when I brought him dinner. Then I take what's mine and clean house. 5 weeks before Jackson's birthday, my mother called. "Margaret, I need to discuss something important. We're all contributing to Diane's wedding. She's finally marrying Craig after 7 years together. We're asking everyone for $8,000. When can you send it?" "Diane's getting married? That's wonderful. When did this happen?" 2 weeks ago. We've been planning quietly. The wedding is in 3 months. Very elegant affair. Anyway, we need your contribution by Friday." "That's a lot of money." "Family helps family, Margaret. We all pitched in for your son when he was growing up. Now it's time for you to help your niece." I thought about Jackson sleeping in his car while my family judged him. I thought about Paul living in the house that should have gone to Jackson, drawing a CEO salary from Jackson's inheritance. "I'll think about it," I said. "Don't think too long. Diane needs to give the venue a final count." After we hung up, I texted Jackson, "Mom wants $8,000 for Diane's wedding. The same Diane who called you a bum last week." His response: "Perfect timing. Tell her you'll let her know soon. Trust me." Jackson's 27th birthday was a Tuesday. He'd taken the day off work, his last day at his current job anyway. I picked him up from the gym parking lot at 8 a.m. "How does it feel?" I asked. "Like I've been holding my breath for 6 weeks and I can finally exhale." He was wearing a suit, the good one he kept in storage. "Let's go to Morrison's office. I have some papers to deliver." We drove to the Morrison Industrial Building. Jackson had called ahead to arrange a meeting with the trust attorney and the board. Paul was already there, looking annoyed. What's this about, Margaret? I have a busy day. This is about the company, Jackson said, walking past him into the conference room. The trust attorney, Mr. Whitmore, was waiting with documents spread across the table. Good morning, Jackson. Happy birthday. Shall we begin? Wait, why is he here? Paul demanded. This is a board meeting. This is a transfer of ownership meeting, Mr. Whitmore corrected. As of today, Jackson Morrison becomes the majority shareholder of Morrison Industrial Supply and assumes the role of CEO. The room went silent. That's insane, Paul said. Jackson's living in his car. He's not qualified. Jackson holds an MBA from Wharton, 5 years of industry experience, and is the designated heir per Richard Morrison's trust documents. He's eminently qualified. Mr. Whitmore slid papers across the table. These are the transfer documents. Jackson, if you'll sign here. Jackson signed. Each signature felt like justice. What does this mean? Diane's husband, Craig, asked nervously. He'd been CFO for 2 years, earning $180,000 annually for work a competent bookkeeper could do. It means, Jackson said calmly, I'm CEO effective immediately. It means I'll be reviewing all personnel, all salaries, and all decisions made during the interim period. It means things are about to change. You can't just fire us, Paul started. I can actually. You were interim CEO, emphasis on interim. Your position ends today. Thank you for your service. Jackson turned to Craig. Your CFO, reporting to a CEO who has an MBA in finance. I'll be auditing your work this week. I suggest your records are impeccable. Craig went pale. As for you, Jackson looked at my nephew Brad. I don't know what a VP of Strategic Initiatives does, but I'll figure it out. If it's as useless as it sounds, that position is eliminated. You're doing this because you're bitter, Paul spat. Because we were honest about your situation. You called me a bum, a failure, an embarrassment. You mocked me for living in my car after my marriage fell apart. Jackson's voice was steady but cold. You did that while drawing an inflated salary from my company, living in the house my father intended for me, and acting like you owned what was always meant to be mine. The board gave me that house. The board doesn't have that authority anymore. I do, and I want you out by the end of the month. We left the building at 10:30 a.m. Jackson was officially CEO of Morrison Industrial Supply, a company worth $40 million. My phone buzzed. A text from my mother. Hi, Margaret. Just checking on that $8,000 contribution. Diane really needs an answer today. I showed Jackson. He smiled, the first real smile I'd seen in months. Want to have some fun? What are you thinking? Send her 50 cents, with a message. I opened my banking app and transferred exactly 50 cents to my mother's account. In the memo line I wrote, for Diane's wedding. Maybe she can buy a cardboard box to celebrate in. You all seem to think Jackson's was so entertaining. I hit send. Jackson laughed, really laughed. That's perfect, Mom. Absolutely perfect. Now what? Now we go back to Morrison's office. I need to change the locks. The locks. Paul, Craig, and Brad all have keys and access codes. I don't want them anywhere near the building unsupervised. So we're changing everything. Today. We went back. Jackson called a locksmith. By 2 p.m., every lock at Morrison Industrial was changed. Every access code was reset. Every key card was deactivated except Jackson's and those of essential staff. What about Paul? I asked. Won't he show up tomorrow expecting to work? He can show up. He just won't get in. Security has instructions that he's no longer employed here. Jackson looked at the building, his building now. This company was built by my great-grandfather. My grandfather grew it. My father modernized it. Paul just lived off it while judging me for being temporarily homeless. Well, that ends today. My phone started ringing at 3:47 p.m. First, Paul, what the hell is going on? My access card doesn't work. Then my mother. Did you really send 50 cents? 50 C&Ts? This is outrageous. Then Diane. Mom says you basically told me to live in a cardboard box. How dare you? I ignored all of them. At 4:15 p.m., my mother showed up at my house. Her face was red, and she was shaking with rage. Explain yourself, she demanded. About what? The 50 cents, the insult, the disrespect. You asked for a contribution. I sent what I thought was appropriate. Appropriate? For your niece's wedding? You think my son living in his car was appropriate dinner conversation? You think calling him a bum and a failure was appropriate? That was different. How? How is mocking my son for being temporarily homeless different from me sending you 50 cents? You wanted to know how it feels to be dismissed and mocked? Now you know. You're being spiteful. I'm being honest. You all spent weeks judging Jackson, calling him an embarrassment, saying his father would be ashamed. Well, guess what? His father left him a $40 million company. As of today, Jackson is CEO of Morrison Industrial. He owns it all. My mother's face went white. That's the trust activated. Today, his 27th birthday. The trust your family conveniently forgot about while you were all living off his inheritance. We didn't know. You didn't care. Paul took a CEO salary and a house that belonged to Jackson. Craig got a CFO position he's not qualified for. Brad got a fake VP title. And you all judged Jackson for sleeping in his car while he waited for what was rightfully his. So he's firing everyone? Out of spite. Out of necessity. Paul mismanaged. Craig is incompetent. Brad's position is useless. Jackson is cleaning house and running the company the way his father intended. What about the wedding contribution? What about it? We need that money. And Jackson needed his family when his marriage fell apart. He needed support, not judgment. He needed compassion, not mockery. He got neither. So no, I'm not contributing $8,000 to celebrate a family that treated my son like garbage. You'll regret this. The only thing I regret is not standing up to you all sooner. Now please leave. You're not welcome here anymore. She left, crying and furious. That evening, Paul called. I answered. You turned him against us, he said bitterly. You poisoned Jackson. I didn't have to poison him. You did that yourself every time you called him a failure. Every time you mocked him for being homeless while you collected his paycheck. I was interim CEO. And now you're unemployed. How does it feel? He can't do this. He can. He did. And Paul? He's also reviewing the house situation, the one the board gave you. Turns out that wasn't theirs to give. It was part of the estate held in trust. Jackson wants it back. That's my home. That was Richard's home, meant for Richard's son. You've been living in Jackson's inheritance while calling him a bum. That ends now. I'll fight this. With what money? Your CEO salary ended today. Your severance is minimal since you were interim. And your sister's wedding? You're all scrambling for contributions because you've been living beyond your means. Meanwhile, Jackson, the failure you all mocked, is worth $40 million and sleeping in a real bed tonight for the first time in 6 weeks. I hung up. 3 months later, Diane's wedding happened, scaled down significantly after several family members couldn't contribute. I didn't attend, neither did Jackson. Jackson moved into his father's house, his house now. He bought himself a new car. He rebuilt Morrison Industrial, cutting waste and improving operations. Paul found a job as a regional manager at a smaller company, a significant pay cut. Diane's husband, Craig, works in accounting at a mid-sized firm. My nephew Brad is in sales somewhere. None of them speak to me or Jackson. Last week, Jackson stopped by for dinner. How are you feeling about everything? I asked. Good, really good. The company's profitable again. I'm rebuilding what Dad created. And I learned exactly who in this family actually cares about me versus who just cares about appearances and money. Any regrets? Only that I let them hurt me for so long. Living in my car was hard, but their judgment made it harder. And the whole time, I knew I had this company waiting. I knew I'd be fine, but they didn't care enough to ask about my plan or offer support. They just judged. You handled it perfectly. I handled it like Dad would have, with patience, planning, and eventual justice. He smiled. The 50 cents was a nice touch, by the way. I learned from the best. So did I, Mom. So did I. We had dinner in his beautiful home, the one his family had taken from him, the one he reclaimed. And we talked about Morrison Industrial, about his plans for expansion, about the future. A future he built despite his family, not because of them. And sometimes that's the sweetest success of all.